So this is the Elk console. This was the first product that ETC sold as an ETC product. It was built around a specification that John Haupt, the lighting designer for Epcot, had given. At that point, the low-cost consoles were the Kliegel Performer with built-in monitors, and they wanted separate monitors, a control panel, and then a separate dimmer interface unit with the brains in it. And the general specification of 2 monitors and 24 submasters became kind of the model of desks all the way through the expression line into the color trend line and a very typical format after John's specification. This had a Z80 microprocessor in it, 48K of dynamic RAM. The memory cards are actually wire-wrapped cards in the back of them. We built 6 of these for Disney and for Epcot, and when we got this back out of service a dozen years later, it was built in 1982, it was still in service and still working. And so in return for giving them a replacement current console, we actually have 2 of these in our inventory, in our museum warehouse back in the States. So this became the parent, or this was the parent of the Expression family. From the Elk console, we launched in 1983 at the US ITT conference, the Concept 125, then changed the Concept 250 by putting 3.5 floppy disks in instead of the tape memory for the persistent memory. The Concept 250 had color monitors, and we sold that directly as ETC and also through distribution of Lighting Methods and Tetronics. From the Concept, the next product in the line was the ETC Idea, and an Idea is essentially half of a Concept 250. It had 1 pair of time faders, 12 submasters, not 24, and the entire marketing spec for this was done by my wife Susan, taking the face panel drawing of a Concept 250 and a pair of scissors and some tape, and she cut off half the submasters, cut off the time faders, eliminated a few buttons, and that was the entire marketing spec for this. If you were to take the cover off of this, take the face panel off, the main circuit board, which has a Z80 microprocessor on it, also has the names of all 6 of us who were working at ETC on the silk screen of the circuit board, including a 7th person named Doris Bush, who was a fictional character at ETC, our company secretary. Everyone wanted a secretary, but we never had one, couldn't afford one, but Doris Bush was this fictional character, so Doris's name is on the circuit board as well. From the Idea, we still were looking for a less expensive product and a more cost-effective product, and the next product in the family was the Vision. The Vision had 100 channels. We went back to 2 time faders, the 3.5-inch disc drive, and it didn't have any manual faders on it. However, you could order it with 0 to 10 volt analog input, so you could have up to a 96 channel manual board plugged into it and read those levels in. It had up to 96 or 192 analog outputs. At the time, we also had to be able to output CD80 protocol, so you could do that. And this particular machine is serial number 1, and you can tell that when I designed the box, I had designed the face panel about 3/4 inch smaller. I had to make the box wider, or actually 1.5 inches, and had to put these trim strips in it, face panel stretchers as it were. That's because I couldn't afford the time to punch out new face panels on the mobile. This machine was originally sold to Casper College by Secoa, by Paul Scharfenberger at Secoa, and it had one of everything in it as far as the options on it. So from Vision, we then did the Microvision FX, or Microvision FX, neither of which are here, and then from the original Expression or Concept software, we did Expression, and the whole Expression 1, Expression 2, Expression 3 line. Emphasis was part of that, and then probably our most popular console, the Express console, came out of that. The Express console ran Expression software, had variations with 2-scene preset, with up to 72 channels of 2-scene preset on it. And in the course, the one unique thing about this is while we had different face panels, they all shared the same common processor brick, which has the processor, the disk drive, and all the electronics in it. So from a manufacturing standpoint, we could make a bunch of different face panels, but then one standard brick in the back of it. One of the challenges that we have with this is that we made about 19,000 of these, and most of them are still being used. But it's harder and harder to get the 3.5-inch discs to put in them. So one of the things, I panicked about this not too long ago when I said, my God, if you can't buy the discs. So I checked on it, and we bought about 2 pallet loads worth of discs. So hopefully we have a lifetime supply of 3.5-inch diskettes for 19,000 consoles out in the field. It was only about a year ago that we retired stopped developing the Expression Express line. Over the 26 years that we made all of these products, from the Disney console on through Express and the final Expressions, we shipped over 26,000 consoles in that product family. It added up to about $220 million of revenue. And almost all of the code in these machines was written by my sister-in-law. Well, she was my sister-in-law, then my brother, and she got divorced and we kept her. Annie wrote almost all the code in these. A little bit of it was done by a man named Larry Gauthier as well. Great. So that's the history of the Expression family.
This will be our unofficial tour of history. This was actually the first thing I ever ran. It's a Pre-Pack 9, completely analog system. There should be some dimmers somewhere. We don't really know why it has 12 sliders as opposed to 12, which is what everyone else was doing, which is based on 3-phase power, by the way. But there you have it. Boy, that brings back memories. Epitron I never really worked with, so I have nothing to say about it. Let's see. Oh, Light Palette. Light Palette 2. An iconic product in our industry, a true watershed. Still probably the most elegant lighting control console ever built. This is the original Light Palette. My best story about Light Palette was we were taking it to Chicago Lyric for a demo. They were replacing, I forgot what console they had there. And this was, of course, in the days when you had to ship them in wooden crates because they were so big. And we shipped it to Chicago from a trade show in New York. By the time it got to the theater, it was late, and it came around, wheeling around Wacker Drive in the back of a Toyota pickup truck. And somebody had driven a forklift right through the crate. Oh. And we brought it out of the crate, and this thing, the keyboard, is keyed here so that you could drop it down for service. Well, the keyboard had completely dropped down and was just flapping in the wind. This CRT was completely pushed out, maybe about 4 inches. And I looked at this thing and I thought, oh my God, this is going to be a disaster. We plugged it in and it actually worked. It was the most amazing thing, and that was Light Palette 2 takes a lick and keeps on ticking. This is a terrific board, and it sets so many of the standards for control philosophy that we still use today. One of my favorite all-time products. So that's Light Palette 2. I can't really speak to the LMI product. We bought them at ETC, but I don't know much about it. This, of course, is the Elk console. This was the first product designed by ETC for Disney, for the Electric Light Parade. And this is the product that put ETC into business. It eventually became the channel track for Colortran, which was the first OEM product that ETC made, and then eventually we went off and developed our own products. This will bring tears to the eyes of our CEO when he sees it. Okay, keep going, keep going, keep going. Lightboard M, my very first experience in user interface development. Let's see. When I joined Strand, the hardware and the software, the hardware had already been designed. They had already sold about 200 of them, but they had no functioning software whatsoever. So we basically had to design the user interface off of the keys that were already there and the specifications that had already been sold into the market. I think by the time we started shipping this, we had sold 450 of them, and they were all on back order, and then I left Strand because this product killed me. So, but this is Lightboard M. Let's see, here we have 2 products from ETC. This is the Vision. This product was actually still shipping when I joined ETC. And the Idea. Both of these are sort of based on the same idea.
Yeah, that's the best.
The first manufacturer that I actually worked for was Kliegel. And at the point that I joined Kliegel, they were shipping Performer 2. And I did a lot of training on this desk. And I actually wrote the operations manual. Keep in mind, this was before everyone had word processors and computers sitting on their desk. Legal had one sort of word processing thing that you had to fight for time on in order to get any work done. And so this manual and the Performer 2.3 manual were all created long before computers were available. And so let's see, moving along. We have here, and we have Obsession. So this is Obsession. This is my second effort at UI, and can I just tell you I'm much more successful than the first one, I think. This was ETC wanting to get into Broadway, and because Broadway required tracking style systems and the older ETC products were not tracking systems, Obsession was specifically designed to meet the needs of that marketplace, and we used many of the ideas from Light Palette as the basis for the product because that was what the design community in New York wanted. This product eventually became, very briefly, Obsession ML, which is not here, which was our attempt to integrate moving light controls. That was very short-lived, and then we came out with Obsession 2, which is basically the Batboard, as everybody remembers it. And these are still in service, both these original Obsessions and Obsession 2, in rental houses all over the place. Now we have the Express product. Express was a derivative of the Expression product line, which was a hugely successful product line for ETC. No longer in production, but probably the biggest selling lighting control console of all time. I don't have the actual numbers, but they flew off the shelf. And still a great desk. They're in service pretty much everywhere. Now that we're no longer shipping those, we actually have replaced it with the Element console. And so this is the latest effort that we have. This is EOS. EOS was a from-the-ground-up development. It was our attempt to make a product that was not a hybrid console, which had sort of support for moving lights and some for conventional, sort of bombed onto the side, but it was a fully integrated approach. EOS began shipping about 4 years ago. It has spun off 2 other products, and there will be a third one in the future in the family. And we just continue to work and work and work at software development. And that's really all I have to say about the lighting control.